Good afternoon to everybody. Today we will discuss about a new chapter, scalars and vectors. We have already discussed about physical quantities. There are two types of physical quantities, fundamental quantities and derived quantities, that is according to measurement. And what is physical quantities? Quantities which are measured quantitatively or numerically are known as physical quantities. But again physical quantities are also classified into two types. These are scalars and vectors, and this type of classification is according to its magnitude and direction. So, every physical quantities have magnitude as well as direction, but there are some physical quantities possess only magnitude, not direction. Here, before discussing about direction, means north, south, east, west. So, direction is north, south, east, west. So, according to magnitude and according to direction, physical quantities are two types, they are scalars and vectors. Scalars and vectors. So, first we will discuss about scalar quantities. So, physical quantities having only magnitude are known as scalar quantities. For example, mass has only magnitude. So, it can be measured by the unit of kilogram, gram, ton, milligram, microgram, etc. But it has no direction, because mass cannot be measured in north direction, in south direction, in east direction and west direction. Similarly, very simple example, time is also a scalar quantity. Time is always aheading, but in which direction it is aheading, it is not known. It is not aheading along north direction or south direction or east direction or west direction. So, time has only magnitude, it has no direction. So, time is a scalar quantity. Similarly, there are so many physical quantities, energy, work, these are also scalar quantities. Then we will discuss about vector quantities. So, physical quantities having magnitude as well as directions known as vector quantities. Of course, magnitude and direction is the sufficient condition to be a physical quantity to be a vector quantity. There is also a necessary condition. So, necessary sufficient conditions and necessary condition. So, should be magnitude as well as direction, and the necessary condition is magnitude as well as direction, but the sufficient condition is the physical quantities should be added by the laws of vector addition. We will discuss about the laws of vector addition later. So, a quantities having magnitude as well as direction known as vector quantities, but still it has been found that some physical quantities which has magnitude as well as direction, but they are not vector quantities, they are scalars. For example, electric current, it has magnitude, it has direction, but it is not a vector quantity, because it is not satisfying the sufficient condition. So, that sufficient condition is the physical quantity should obey the laws of vector addition. Okay. So, now basically we will discuss about vector quantities, what is vector and what is how we will represent it. Vectors, you just see this is a straight line P Q. So, now there are two ends P and Q, then you put an arrowhead at one of its end, either at P end or at Q end. Suppose arrowhead is at the end Q, this is vector A. If you will put arrowhead at the end P, it will be another vector, that is known as B, because here direction is towards east, here direction is towards west. So, this is PQ vector, PQ, that is vector A, this is QP, that is vector B, and the length of this vector, suppose this is 10 cm, this is the magnitude of vector A. So, 10 centimeter is magnitude of vector A and its direction is towards east. Here 10 centimeter is magnitude of vector B, but direction is towards west. So, magnitude can be represented by a symbol modulus, that is 10 cm. This is 10 cm. This symbol is known as mathematical symbol. This is known as modulus, which represents the magnitude of a vector. So, now, so scalar quantities has only magnitude, no direction, but vector quantities possess both magnitude as well as direction. So, now we will discuss about the multiplication of a scalar quantity with a vector quantity. So, multiplication of a scalar with vector. So, you just take an example vector A whose magnitude is 3 cm. A is a vector, its magnitude is 3 cm. Now, you multiply the vector A with a scalar. Suppose 3 is a scalar, sorry, take it 2 is a scalar. So, now you multiplied 2 dot vector A. So, what will be the result? This is the question mark. So, 2 is a scalar, it has only magnitude, but A is a vector, it has magnitude as well as direction. Its magnitude is 3 cm and 2 is the another quantity, scalar quantity. So, you just multiply magnitude to magnitude, 2 into 3, that is 6 cm. So, new vector's magnitude will 6 cm and what direction will remain same, but it will give a new vector, that is known as vector B. So, 2 dot vector A equal to vector B. So, B is a new vector whose magnitude is 6 cm. That means, conclusion is, if you will multiply scalar with a vector, it will give a another vector, new vector, another new vector. Suppose you take m is a scalar quantity, m is a scalar quantity. Case 1, if m equal to 2, then 2 dot A vector equal to vector B and modulus of vector B equal to 6 cm, because magnitude of vector is 3 cm. But if you will take m equal to minus 2, what will happen? Then you multiply minus 2 dot vector A equal to, this will give another new vector C. Why? Here magnitude of vector is 3 cm and you are multiplying with minus 2, that is minus 6. Minus 6 means magnitude is 6 cm, but its direction is opposite. So, this will give new vector, magnitude is 6 cm, but its direction is opposite to the vector A. So, it will give a new vector, magnitude of vector C also 6 cm, but its direction is towards west. And in case of, if m is positive integer, then it is towards east. If m is negative integer, its direction is towards west, its direction will be opposite. And in case 3, if m equal to 0, this is positive, this is negative, this is 0, then 0 dot modulus A equal to another vector. This is known as null vector, null vector. Null vector means its magnitude is 0. Null vector, we will discuss in later details about null vector and its properties and characteristics, but now you just mark it. If m equal to 0, if you will multiply 0 with a vector, 0 is a scalar quantity and A is a vector quantity, and it will also give a new vector, but that is null vector whose magnitude is 0. But direction of null vector is arbitrary, it cannot be determined. It has direction, but it cannot be determined. So, these are about the scalar multiplication of vectors. Then very important, we will discuss about various types of vector, that is very important, and in types of vector we will discuss about the null vector, the characteristics and properties of null vector. Types of vector. Number 1, null vector or 0 vector. Just like you have already read about the null set in school level, null set means there is no elements in a set is known as null set. Similarly, null vector or 0 vector means vector having 0 magnitude, but arbitrary direction known as null vector. So, it has 0 magnitude and arbitrary means indeterminate direction. It is denoted by 0 vector. So, magnitude of null vector equal to 0. It has also example. For example, a coin is tossed. So, coin will move from this point, it will move in upward direction vertically, then again it will come to your hand. That means, initial point and final point same. So, its displacement is 0. This displacement is a vector quantity and this displacement is null vector. For another example, you can also take a particle is moving in a circular path. A particle is moving in a circular path. Suppose a particle starts from A and moves in anticlockwise direction, and again it comes to point A, then displacement will be 0, that is null vector. Okay. Suppose a vehicle is at rest. Now you are looking that a vehicle is at rest, and after 5 minutes you come back to the same place and you will see the vehicle is at the same position. That means its displacement is 0, its velocity is 0. So, that they are null vectors. Okay. Now, we will discuss about the algebra of null vector. Algebra of null vector. You have to remember some algebra, that is vector A plus vector 0 equal to null vector, vector A. Vector A minus null vector equal to vector A. Null vector minus null vector, that is also null vector. Null vector plus null vector, that is null vector. Null vector by null vector, this is also null vector. Then null vector dot null vector, this is 0. Then null vector cross null A vector, this is null vector. We will discuss about the vector product, vector multiplication. In case in scalar product, there is no difference between dot and cross. 2 dot 2 equal to 4, 2 cross 2 equal to 4. But in case of vector, there is a meaning of dot and different meaning of dot and cross. If you put a dot, you will get a scalar quantity. If you put cross, you will get a vector quantity. So, there are two types of product in vector, scalar product and vector product. We will discuss it later. then null vector then another 0 also null vector. These are algebra of null vector. So, you just note it carefully, and it is also very much useful. We will discuss about different properties and different characteristics on the process. But another thing, when you will represent a vector, you just mark it. Suppose these are all types of vector. This is vector A, this is vector B, this is vector C, this is vector D. You just mark the arrowheads. These arrowheads are also known as the terminal point and tips, and this is known as tail or initial point. So, vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D, you just mark their directions are different, but in the symbol vector A there is a symbol, arrowhead symbol, it is always towards right. Whatever may be the direction of vector, the direction on the symbol is always towards right. For example, if suppose this is vector B, so we cannot put such type of symbol on the vector B. Whatever may be the direction of symbol is always towards right. This is vector B. Okay? Then come to second type of vector, that is equal vector. Number 2, equal vector. This is vector A, this is vector B. You just mark two vectors, their magnitudes are same, their directions are also same towards east. So, when two vectors having same magnitude and same direction, they are known as equal vectors. So, conditions of equal vector, same magnitude, same direction. Then two vectors are said to be equal vector. Then vector A equal to vector B. Therefore, vector A equal to vector B. So, you can write vector A in place of vector B and write vector B in place of vector A. So, very important question is, what is angle between vector A and vector B? Since two vectors have same directions, they are parallel, and angle between two parallel line is 0 degree. Hence, there is a question, what is angle between two equal vectors? That is 0 degree, because they are parallel to each other. So, angle between vector A and vector B is 0 degree. Okay. This is equal type of vector. Then third type, negative vector. It is also very important. It makes very confusion at some times. Suppose this is vector A. Then what is the negative vector? Just you rotate it in 180 degree. That means vector A is towards east, it will rotate 180 degree, that is towards west. Then you will get a new vector, that is negative vector of vector A. So, this is vector B, this is minus of vector A. So, vector B is negative of vector A. So, what is negative vector? You just change the direction of vector exactly in opposite direction. That means, you have to rotate 180 degree. So, here you see mark vector P, this is vector Q. Vector Q is negative of vector P. So, it is denoted by vector P. So, magnitude will remain same, but direction will be opposite. In equal vector, same magnitude, same direction, but in negative vector, magnitude same, but direction should be opposite. So, here condition is same magnitude, but opposite direction. Opposite direction. Therefore, vector A modulus equal to vector minus A modulus. Magnitude will remain same, but direction is opposite. So, what is question is what is angle between a vector and its negative vector, that is 180 degree. So, angle between vector A and minus A is 180 degree. It is very important. Now, come to fourth category. Co-initial vector. Co-initial. Co means one point, same point. Co-initial. Initial means starting point. Every body or every system has same initial point known as co-initial vector. So, vectors having common initial point are known as co-initial vector. For example, there are four vectors: vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D. O is the common point. So, all the vectors A, B, C, D, their starting point is common, that is point O. So, these four vectors are known as co-initial vectors. You can also take an example, traffic square. The traffic post is initial, and from that point one vehicle moves towards east, another towards west, another north, another south. So, these four vehicles are known as co-initial vehicles. Similarly, vectors having common initial point or starting point known as co-initial vectors. So, it has common initial point, common initial point. Then come to coplanar vector. Very simple, coplanar vector. Plane, this word planar comes from the plane. Plane means two dimension. Two dimension means x axis and y axis. This blackboard is a plane. So, all the vectors belong to this plane known as coplanar vectors. Suppose I have already done, this is vector P, this is vector Q, this is vector A, B, C, D. All vectors lie on this plane, this blackboard. So, these vectors, 6 vectors are known as coplanar vectors. So, vectors having common plane of action, common plane of action known as coplanar vectors. So, here A, B, C, D are also coplanar vectors, because these four vectors lie on the common plane, same plane means on this blackboard. Then we will discuss about collinear. This is very important. This is also very important vector, collinear vector. I have already told co means common. So, common plane, common initial point, common linear vector. Linear means straight line. Suppose this is a straight line. Suppose this is point A, point O, and this is point, suppose X. This is a straight line. So, or suppose you just imagine it, this is a straight road from one point to another point. Suppose a vehicle moves from O to A, second vehicle moves to point B, third vehicle moves to point C. So, you just mark, first vehicle is moving from O to A, suppose 1 kilometer, but second moving another 2 kilometer, 3 kilometer, C moving another 4 kilometer. That means 1, this is 2, 3, this is 4, 7 kilometers. But 3 vehicles are moving on the common line of action, same road, same straight road, 3 vehicles are moving. So, these 3 vehicles are known as collinear vectors. Similarly, if we will consider 3 vectors OA, OB, OC, they are on a common line. So, these 3 vectors OA, OB, OC, suppose OA equal to vector P, OB equal to vector Q, OC equal to vector R. Magnitudes are different, but direction same, and they are moving on the common line, same line. So, these vectors are known as collinear vectors. So, here vectors having common line of action, are known as collinear vectors. So, here this collinear vector is divided into two categories, parallel vector and antiparallel vector. Why? Suppose a vehicle is moving on this road towards east and another vehicle is moving on the same road towards west. That means direction are opposite, east and west. Accordingly, collinear vectors are classified into two categories. We will first discuss about parallel vector. Parallel vectors. So, how we will discuss about parallel vectors? You just mark these two figures, vector A, vector B. Parallel line means they will meet at infinite, means they will not intersect, and angle between them is 0 degree. So, this is a set, figure 1, and you take another set. This is vector P, this is vector Q. In two figures you mark, here both magnitude same and direction also same. Here magnitude is different, but directions are same. So, what is parallel vectors? Magnitude may be same, may not be same, but direction should be parallel, known as parallel vector. So, here conditions, magnitude may be same, magnitude same, may or may not be, okay? But direction should be same. Direction should be same. Then we will say these pairs AB and PQ are parallel vectors. So, what is angle between two parallel vectors? That is 0 degree. Just like equal vector, they have also same magnitude, same direction, angle between them is 0. Here parallel vectors, they have also magnitude same, may or may not be, but direction should be same. So, angle is 0 degree. And in special case, parallel vector may be equal vector may be parallel vector. Then we will discuss about anti-parallel vector. Anti-parallel vector. You just mark the diagram. This is vector A, this is vector B, this is figure 1. Then you take another pair, this is vector P, this is vector Q, figure 2. So, what is difference? Here magnitude same, but direction are opposite. In figure 2, magnitude different, directions are opposite. So, magnitude may be same, may not be same, but direction should be opposite. Then we will say the pairs antiparallel vectors. So, magnitude same, may or may not be, but direction should be opposite. That means here angle between two antiparallel vector is 0 degree. So, angle is 180 degree. In parallel vector angle is 0 degree, and in antiparallel vector angle between two antiparallel vector is 180 degree. So, both parallel and antiparallel vectors belongs to collinear vectors. Then come to unit vector. Then come to unit vector, very important vector, unit vector. So, what is unit vector? Unit means 1. So, vectors having unit magnitude means maybe 1 meter, maybe 1 centimeter, 1 millimeter, 1 kilometer, whatever may be the measurement, magnitude should be 1. Numerically its value should be 1, then that is known as unit vector. So, vectors having unit magnitude are known as unit vector. It is denoted by a cap. It is a special symbol. Every vectors have symbol is arrowhead, but in case of unit vector there is a symbol that is cap, a cap. Cap means hat. So, you can also tell it a hat, a cap. Actually, its mathematics is, this symbol mathematics is caret. We should read it a caret, but for our simplicity we are telling a cap. Cap means hat, just there is a cap on the A. So, unit vector is denoted by a cap symbol and it will read as a cap. Its magnitude is always 1. Magnitude is always 1. But now question arises, what is the direction of unit vectors? Suppose this is a vector A, its magnitude is 4 cm. So, you just take 1 cm, then it will give unit vector a cap. So, direction of unit vector a cap is along the direction of its original vector a. That means, angle between vector a and unit vector a cap is 0 degree, because they are in the same direction. So, unit vector, every vector has unit vector, but except null vector. Null vector has no unit vector, because magnitude of null vector is 0 degree. So, it cannot be unit. So, direction of unit vector is along the direction of its original vector. So, now mathematically how we will find out unit vector? A cap equal to vector A by vector A modulus. This is the formula. If you will find the unit vector of vector A, you just divide vector A by its modulus. We will also discuss about the example in later. So, A cap equal to vector A by modulus A. So, what is vector A? This is modulus A cap. Modulus means it indicates only magnitude, not direction. So, vector A equal to A cap. Since we can write modulus A equal to A. A is a vector. If you will put modulus, it indicates its magnitude, means it will convert it to scalar. So, A is a vector, A is a scalar. If you will try to convert it into vector, you just multiply its unit vector, then you will get the vector quantity. So, by unit vector, you can convert a scalar into vector. So, vector A equal to A cap. And angle between a vector A and its unit vector A cap is 0 degree, because direction of vector A and its unit vector are same. Then another point, null vector has, every vector has unit vector, but null vector has no unit vector. Okay. Then come to orthogonal vector. Orthogonal vector, orthogonal unit vector. We will discuss about orthogonal unit vector. Orthogonal means perpendicular or normal to each other, perpendicular to each other. X axis and y axis, they are perpendicular to each other. So, they are known as orthogonal axes. Similarly, in 3 dimension there are 3 axes, x axis, y axis, z axis. You just mark the corner of the room, that is x axis, that is y axis, that is z axis. So, you take any 2 axes, angle between them is 90 degree. So, these 3 axes are known as orthogonal axes. So, here you mark it, this is 3 dimensional, this is x axis, this is y axis, this is z axis. Here OY is perpendicular to OX, so this is 90 degree, and here these 2 angles are looking obtuse angle, but actually they are perpendicular to each other, because they are, this z axis is actually in this position. Since it is space, we cannot draw, so we have drawn in this way OZ. So, this angle is also 90 degree, this angle is also 90 degree, this is also 90 degree. Now, these 3 axes OX, OY, OZ are known as orthogonal axes. So, if you will take an unit vector along x axis, that is taken as I cap, along y axis, that is j cap, along z axis k cap. Now, these 3 unit vectors I cap, j cap, k cap are known as orthogonal unit vectors, and they are also perpendicular to each other, because angle between I cap, k cap, k cap, I cap, you take any 2 unit vectors, angle between them is 90 degree. So, I cap, j cap, k cap are orthogonal unit vectors. And this I cap, j cap, k cap are a set, it is also known as triads. 3 unit vectors known as triads, they are set, and this unit vector I cap is always x axis, j cap always y axis, k cap always z axis. You can change I cap, unit vector I cap along y axis, or j cap z axis, or any other axis, you can change, that is fixed. Along x axis, that is I cap, along y axis, j cap, along z axis, k cap. So, these I cap, j cap, k cap are 3 unit vectors are known as orthogonal unit vectors. Then come to coterminous vector. Terminal point, final point. So, vectors having common terminal point are known as coterminal vectors. For example, suppose 3 vectors A, B, C, they are coming from different direction, but their final point is common O. So, these 3 vectors are known as coterminous vector or coterminal vector. Vectors having common terminal point are known as coterminous vector. Coterminous vector. Then axial vector. Axial vectors means a body is rotating. in rotational motion or circular motions. All the physical quantities related to circular motions and rotational motions are known as axial vectors. For example, angular velocity, angular acceleration, angular displacement. There are so many physical quantities which belongs to axial vectors. Then come to 11 polar vectors. These vectors related to linear motion. A body is moving in a straight line or making the linear motion, and the physical quantities related to linear motions or straight line motions known as polar vectors. For example, displacement, velocity, acceleration, momentum, etc. There are so many polar vectors, many axial vectors, but finally there is proper vector. All the vectors are proper vectors except null vector. All the vectors discussed about types of vector. There are also fixed vector, localized vector, non-localized vector, various types of vector. So, except null vector, all the vectors are proper vector. Because null vector has magnitude as well as direction, but its direction is arbitrary, it cannot be determined, indeterminate. So, why? That is not proper vector, that is improper vector. Except null vector, all the vectors are proper vector. Okay? These are all about types of vectors. Now, we will discuss about the sufficient conditions. I have already told you that physical quantities having magnitude as well as direction known as vector quantities, but it has been found that some physical quantities possess magnitude as well as direction, but they are not vector quantities, they are scalar quantities. For example, electric current. So, there is a sufficient condition, that means all the physical quantities should possess magnitude as well as direction. Along with, they should obey the vector laws of additions. Then that quantity should be a pure vector. So, now we will discuss about addition of vector. Addition of vector or vector laws of addition. One thing, we are adding scalar quantities 2 plus 3 equal to 5 or 3 minus 5 plus 3 equal to minus 2 or a plus b whole square, a square plus b square plus 2ab. That is algebraically. So, scalar addition is algebraically, but vector addition is geometrically. Geometrically means we will use some geometrical formula. Basically, we will use the Pythagoras theorem. So, since vector addition is geometrically, so there are 3 laws of vector addition. Number 1, triangle law of vector addition. Number 2, parallelogram law of vector addition. Third is polygon law of vector addition. Third is polygon law of vector addition. Poly means many. If we add two vectors, then we can use triangle law of vector addition or parallelogram law of vector addition. If there are more than two vectors, then we will use this law, third law, that is polygon law of vector addition. So, now we will discuss separately these three laws of vector addition. First, we will discuss about triangle law of vector addition. Triangle law of vector addition. Suppose there are two vectors. This is vector A and this is vector B. Question is, you just add vector A and vector B. That means you have to add vector A plus vector B. So, you will get a new vector, that is known as resultant vector R. So, here you just mind it, if you will add two vectors, you will get a new vector, that is known as resultant vector or net vector. It also possesses both magnitude as well as direction. So, we have to find out the magnitude and direction of vector R, new vector R. So, how we will use this law, triangle law of vector addition? How this law is telling that if these two vectors represent two sides of a triangle, in same order, you just mark it, this is vector A, this is also vector A, same vector A. Why? Here magnitude of vector A, vector same and direction is also same. Then this is head, this is tail. Here this is vector B, head and tail. In triangle law of vector addition, there is a formula, head tail arrangement. Arrangement should be head tail, means head of one vector will be connected to tail of another vector. In triangle law of vector addition, head of one vector will be connected to the tail of another vector. So, this is vector B, this is the tail, this is the head. So, I have joined the tail of vector B with head of vector A in same order. Same order means head tail arrangement, and here you mark this is vector B, magnitude is same, direction is also same. So, this is vector A and this is vector B. So, law is telling if two vectors represent two sides of a triangle in same order, then their resultant will be third side, but in opposite order. Order means here vector A, vector B are same order because they are moving in anti-clockwise direction. A and B. So, their resultant means after addition it will give new vector. Their resultant will be third side, but in opposite order, means A and B are in anti-clockwise direction, resultant should be in clockwise direction. That means there is connection of head and head, here tail and tail, here head and head. But initially the order should be same order. That means head of one vector will connect to the tail of another vector. So, what is triangle law of vector addition? It states that if two vectors represent two sides of a triangle, suppose triangle is PQS, two vectors A and B represent two sides of triangle PQS, PQ, QS in same order, then the resultant will be third side PS, but in opposite order. Okay? So, if you will add vector A and vector B, you will get new vector R. Now, question is what is magnitude of vector R and direction of vector S. So, what is direction? So, this is the direction, suppose beta. So, direction of new vector r, resultant vector r is at an angle beta with vector a or pq, vector a, sorry, vector a. So, now our aim is to find out the magnitude of vector r and the direction of vector r. Since vector addition is geometrically, we have to use the formula of geometry, that is Pythagoras theorem, but there is no formula to find out the resultant of vector r. So, just you produce this vector a and draw perpendicular from point S. You just produce vector a from q to t and draw perpendicular S t. Now, you will get a triangle P T S, that is right angle triangle. Now, Pythagoras theorem can be applicable to the right angle P T S. So, what is the value of vector r? P s equal to P t square plus S t square root over. So, now we can use the Pythagoras theorem. So, triangle law states that if two vectors represent two sides of a triangle in same order, then their resultant will be third side, but in the opposite order, of course with magnitude. So, now A and B are two vectors. So, vector r equal to vector A plus vector B, equation 1. Now, draw perpendicular S t on P q produced. Therefore, in triangle P T S, P s square equal to P t square plus S t square, P s square equal to P q plus Q t whole square plus S t square, P q square plus Q t square to P q dot Q t plus S t square, implied P s square equal to P q square plus Q t square plus S t square plus 2 dot P q dot Q t. Here you mark, we know the value of P s, that is vector r, P q vector a, Q t, this is we have extended it, but we do not know the value of Q t, and S t is perpendicular drawn from P q on P q produced. So, we do not know the value of Q t and S t. So, now we have to find out the values of Q t and S t. So, now you just mark it, there is another right angle triangle, that is Q T S. This is P T S is a right angle triangle. There is also another small right angle triangle. This is Q T S. You just make it angle theta. Now, in triangle Q T S, sin theta equal to S t by Q s. Here Q s is vector b, therefore, S t equal to vector b sin theta. You just put modulus, because during derivation we are using the magnitude, not direction. Again, cos theta equal to Q t by Q s. This is also Q t by vector b, implied Q t equal to vector b cos theta. So, this is equation 3, this is equation 4. Now, we will use equation 3 and 4 in equation 2. Sorry, therefore, modulus r square equal to modulus a square plus modulus b sin theta square plus modulus cos theta square to p q vector a, then b cos theta, implied r square equal to a square b square sin square theta plus b square cos square theta plus 2ab cos theta, implied modulus r equal to implied r square equal to a square plus take common b square sin square theta plus cos square theta plus 2ab cos theta. Now, you mark here sin theta plus sin square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1. Therefore, r square equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, implied modulus r equal to a square plus b square 2ab cos theta root over. This is modulus of magnitude of new vector r, new vector r, resultant vector r. So, a is vector, b is vector. When you will add vector a plus vector b, that will give a new vector r, that is resultant vector, net vector. Its magnitude is a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. This is equation 5. Look at it. Now, we will discuss about the direction of new resultant vector r. So, this is a formula for magnitude of resultant vector r, that is a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta. So, what is direction of resultant vector r? This is beta. So, now we have to find out the value of beta. Now, in triangle PTS, tan beta equal to ST by PT, implied tan beta equal to ST, PT is subdivided PQ plus QT. Already we have find out the value of ST, that is b sin theta by PQ is vector A, QT is vector B cos theta. So, implied beta equal to tan inverse b sin theta by modulus A modulus b cos theta. So, we adding vector A and vector B, we will get new vector r, that is known as resultant vector or net vector. Its magnitude is formula modulus r equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, and direction is beta equal to tan inverse b sin theta by a plus b cos theta. So, this is triangle law of vector addition. Next, we will discuss about parallelogram law of vector addition. So, what is parallelogram? Opposite sides are parallel and opposite angles are same. This is known as parallelogram. So, parallelogram law of vector addition. So, here also we will take two vector, same two vectors. Suppose this is vector A and this is vector B given. Two vectors A and B are given. Question is to add them. So, A plus B. Here also we will get new vector R, that is known as resultant vector or net vector. But here law is parallelogram law. In triangle law, arrangement was head tail arrangement, but in case of parallelogram law, arrangement is tail tail arrangement. Tail of one vector is connected to tail of another vector. So, this law is telling, suppose two vectors represent two adjacent sides. Adjacent means consecutive, side by side. This is vector A, this is vector B. Here this is the question, this is vector A given, vector A and vector B. Now I have joined vector A and vector B. Tail of vector A is connected to B, tail of vector B. But in case of triangle law of vector addition, arrangement is head tail arrangement, here tail tail arrangement. So, now we have to draw the parallelogram, that is vector A, this is vector B. Now, this is the parallelogram. So, law is telling if two vectors represent two adjacent or consecutive sides of a parallelogram, then their resultant will be that diagonal which passes through them. Suppose this is a parallelogram, there are two diagonals, one is small diagonal, another is big diagonal. If you will take this side, consecutive sides or adjacent sides, vector A and vector B, then their resultant will be that diagonal out of two diagonal. Which diagonal? Diagonal which passes through them, these two vectors A and B. This diagonal passes through vector A and vector B. So, this big diagonal will be resultant. If you will take, this is vector A and vector B, two adjacent or consecutive sides, then their resultant will be that diagonal which passes through them. That means that will be resultant will be small diagonal. So, law is telling if two vectors represent two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then their resultant will be that diagonal which passes through them, and it has also magnitude as well as direction. So, this is parallelogram law of vector addition. But geometrically, a parallelogram is a two similar triangle. If we will draw diagonal, suppose this is parallelogram is OPQS, and we are adding vector A and vector B, their resultant is R, and OQ is diagonal. So, there are two similar triangles OPQ and there is another OSQ. These two triangles are similar to each other. So, a parallelogram means it is two similar triangles. So, now question is R is resultant or net vector of A and vector B. So, we have to find out the magnitude as well as direction. Since a parallelogram is two similar triangles, we can also here use triangle law of vector addition. So, similarly, you just produce OP to T and draw perpendicular QT on OP produced. Therefore, OTQ is a right angle triangle. So, now we can use the Pythagoras theorem. Here this angle is also theta, this angle is also theta, but this angle is beta. The resultant R is making angle beta with vector A. We have to find out the value of beta. Since OTQ, here you mark OP and PQ are in same order, therefore, their resultant will be third side OQ, but in opposite order. So, it is also satisfying the triangle law of vector addition. So, just you take OTQ right angle triangle and use Pythagoras theorem, then what will be the resultant? OQ square equal to OT square plus QT square. And in same way, just like triangle law of vector addition, you can also derive expression for magnitude and direction of resultant vector OT equal to OP plus PT square plus QT square. Similarly, OP square plus PT square plus QT square 2 dot OP dot PT. OP is vector A, OQ is vector R. Similarly, here PT and QT are unknown. So, we have to find out the value of PT and QT. Now, in right angle triangle PTQ, there is also another right angle triangle PTQ. Sin theta equal to QT by vector B implied QT equal to B sin theta, and in same triangle find cos theta PT by modulus B equal to modulus B cos theta. So, now use equation 2 and 3 in equation 1, you will get R square equal to A square B square sin square theta plus B square cos square theta plus 2AB cos theta. R square equal to A square plus B square sin square theta plus cos square theta plus 2AB cos theta. So, here also sin square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1, therefore, R square equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. This process is just similar to derivation is similar to triangle law of vector addition, but difference is in triangle law two vectors are in same order, but here two vectors represent two adjacent or consecutive sides of a parallelogram. Implied modulus R equal to A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta root over. Same formula, A square plus B square plus 2AB cos theta. This expression gives for magnitude of resultant vector or net vector. Similarly, we have to find out the direction of new resultant vector R. Again, we have to consider the right angle triangle OTQ. Again, in triangle OTQ, tan beta equal to QT by PT. Implied tan beta equal to OP plus PT, implied tan beta equal to B sin theta by A B cos theta. implied beta equal to tan inverse b sin theta by modulus A modulus b cos theta. This is formula of direction, this is formula of magnitude. So, when you will add two vectors, it will give a new vector which possess both magnitude as well as direction. But here, in case of parallelogram law of vector addition, there are three cases, those are very important. We will discuss about the different cases. Case 1, suppose two vectors A and B are in same directions. That means B will coincide with vector A. That means direction of vector A and direction of vector B are same. Angle between them is 0. So, what will be the magnitude of a resultant vector? Case 1, if theta equal to 0 degree, means vector A, vector B are in or vectors are in same direction, then modulus R equal to A square plus B square 2AB cos 0 degree root over cos 0 equal to 1. So, this is A square plus B square plus 2AB root over, since cos 0 equal to 1, that is A plus B whole square, implied modulus R equal to modulus A plus modulus B. So, case 1 indicates if two vectors are in same direction, then they will be added, simply their magnitude will be added. Suppose magnitude of vector A is 2 cm, magnitude of vector B is 4 cm, then what will be modulus R equal to, modulus R means magnitude of resultant vector, modulus A plus modulus B, that is 2 plus 4 equal to 6 cm. If two vectors are in same direction, that means two vectors are in equal for two equal vectors or two parallel vectors, their magnitudes will be added, simply just they will added algebraically. Then come to case 2. If theta equal to 90 degree. For example, A and B are perpendicular to each other. This is vector A, this is vector B, and they are perpendicular to each other. 90 degree, theta 90, here theta equal to 90 degree. So, what will be their resultant, magnitude of resultant vector equal to A square plus B square 2AB cos 90 equal to A square plus B square root over, since cos 90 equal to 0 degree. So, it just obey Pythagoras theorem, modulus R equal to A square plus B square root over. Okay? Then we will discuss about case 3. If theta equal to 180 degree. 180 degree means two vectors are opposite to each other. Here this is vector A and AB 180 degree. They are opposite to each other. This is vector A and this is vector B. This is 180 degree. So, if we will add vector A and vector B, what will be the magnitude of a resultant vector? So, vector R equal to a square b square 2ab cos 180 degree equal to a square b square minus 2ab root over. Since cos 180 equal to minus 1, this is a minus b whole square root over equal to a minus b. So, finally, modulus r equal to modulus a minus modulus b. That means, if two vectors are in opposite directions, their magnitudes are subtracted from one another. If modulus of vector b is greater than modulus of vector a, then formula will be simply modulus b minus modulus a. If modulus b greater than modulus a. So, these three cases arises. One is when two vectors are in same directions, when two vectors are perpendicular to each other, and another is two vectors are opposite to each other. Then you can also find the magnitude by using this formula. Then we will discuss about third vector law of addition, that is polygon law of vector addition. Poly means I have already told that many. If you will consider more than two vectors, then how we will add it? Polygon law of vector addition. Suppose you just take this is vector A, this is vector B, this is vector C, and this is vector D. There are four vectors, vector A, vector B, vector C, and vector D. So, now we have to add these four vectors, vector A plus vector B plus vector C plus vector D. Then we will get a new vector, that is known as resultant vector, which also possesses both magnitude as well as directions. So, how we will add these two vectors A, B, C, D? Just like triangle law of vector addition, the arrangement was head tail arrangement. Here also the arrangement is head tail arrangement, means head of vector A will connect to tail of vector B, head of vector B will connect to tail of vector C, head of vector C will connect to tail of vector D. So, polygon law also obey head tail arrangement. So, now you just mark it, this is vector A, then this is vector B, then this is vector C, then this is vector D. You just mark, I have just, this is vector A, same magnitude, same direction, vector B, same direction, same magnitude, this is vector C, this is vector D. So, head of one vector is connected to the tail of another vector, this is known as head tail arrangement. So, now A, B, C, D are in same order, just like triangle law in same order, but this is not a polygon. If when I will close this side, then it will create a polygon. So, now polygon law is telling if many vectors means vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D represents many sides of a polygon in same order, then their resultant will be closing side, but in opposite order. So, what is the resultant? This is the closing side, but in opposite order. So, vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D are in anticlockwise direction, same order, but in anticlockwise direction, but resultant will be this side, closing side, but in opposite order. So, here head and head are connected to each other, and here tail and tail are connected to each other. But while joining the vector, you have to follow the head tail arrangement. Suppose OP vector A, PQ vector B, QS vector C, ST vector D, then OT is resultant vector of vector A plus vector B plus vector C vector D. Hence, what is polygon law? It states that when many vectors represent many sides of a polygon in same order, then their resultant will be closing side but in opposite order. Okay? Therefore, vector R equal to vector A plus vector B plus vector C plus vector D. So, this new vector that is known as resultant vector or net vector, it also possesses magnitude as well as direction. So, now question is how we will find out the resultant vector. First, here we also use the triangle law formula. You just mark OP vector A, PQ vector B, same order. These two vectors are in same order. So, according to triangle law, their resultant will be third side but in opposite order. Suppose this is R1. So, first you add vector A and vector B, then you will get the resultant vector, that is R1 vector. So, addition of A and B is over. Now, you mark OQ, this resultant vector R1 and QS, that is vector C, are in same order. So, using triangle law, their resultant will be third side but in opposite order. It is also satisfying. Now, in triangle OQS, you mark OQ, that is the resultant vector R1 of vector A and vector B, but OQ and QS are in same order of the triangle OQS. So, their resultant will be OS, third side but in opposite order. So, here also triangle law is satisfying. Now, you mark OST, OS, this is the resultant R2 and vector ST, that is vector D, they are also in same order and their resultant will be third side but in opposite order. Already this resultant R is in opposite order. So, R2 plus vector D equal to vector R. So, in this way you are reaching at the point vector R closing side. So, now in triangle OPQ, vector R1 equal to vector A plus vector B. In triangle OQS, R2 equal to R1 plus C. In triangle OST, vector R equal to R2 plus vector D. Equation 1, equation 2, equation 3, equation 4. Now, use equation 3 in equation 4. Here R2 equal to R1 plus C. You just put the value of here equation R2 from equation 3 in equation 4. Now, using equation 3 in equation 4, vector R equal to R1 plus C plus D, that is vector R equal to R1 plus C plus D. Here you mark R1, value of R1 is A plus B in equation 2. So, now use equation 2 in equation 5. Using equation 2 in equation 5, we get A plus B plus C plus D, implied r equal to vector A plus vector B plus vector C plus vector D, which is equation 1. You just mark it, r equal to A plus B plus C plus D. So, in this way we can find out the value of, it is proved that vector r equal to vector A plus vector B plus vector C plus vector D. But we have used triangle law of vector addition 3 times, in this case, in this case, in this case. So, more the number of vectors, you have to apply the triangle law of vector addition many times. In this way, by using polygon law of vector addition, you can add more than 2 vectors, that is A, B, C, D. So, these are all about vector additions, but a question arises here, if many vectors are in same order, suppose this is vector A, this is vector B, and this is vector C, that means this is vector A, this is vector B, and this is vector C. Here you just mark it. Head tail arrangement, head of vector A is connected to tail of vector B, head of B is connected to tail of vector C. That means here in same order, you start from this point and move in this way, then again you will come to the starting point, initial point. Then what will be the resultant? A plus B plus C equal to 0. Why? Just like, so why displacement, if you are moving from one point to another point and again returning to the initial point, then displacement is 0. That means null vector, displacement null vector. Here actually A plus B plus C equal to null vector, and we are taking the magnitude, so its value will be 0. Similarly, in polygon, you are taking many vectors. So, vector A, vector B, vector C, vector D. If you will join the resultant vector in same order, vector R, so vector R modulus R plus A, A plus B plus C plus D plus vector R equal to 0. This will be not the resultant vector, it will act as a general vector. That means you just make it E, then A plus B plus C plus D plus vector E equal to 0. Since, because these A, B, C, D 5 vectors are in same order. So, they are starting from this point, they are ending at this point. So, their resultant is 0. Okay. Then come to subtraction of vector. We have already, today we have discussed about scalar multiplication of vector, then addition of vector. Now, we will subtract a vector, subtract one vector from another vector. Subtraction of vector is one type of vector addition. Subtraction of vector. Actually, subtraction of vector is one type of vector addition. How? Just we will prove it. And this vector addition, just like vector addition is geometrically, similarly subtraction is also geometrically, but scalar addition is algebraically. You just take vector A and this is vector B. Here question is A minus B, A minus B. It will also give a new vector, just like when you are adding two vector, resultant is also a new vector. Similarly, just subtracting two vectors, one vector from another vector, it will also give another new vector, resultant vector. But I have already told that subtraction is one type of vector addition. How? You just mark it. We can write A minus B, a plus b minus a plus minus of b equal to r. That means, if you will add vector a with negative vector of vector b, that is indirectly subtraction. Okay? You just mark it again, a minus b, we can write a plus minus of b. What is minus of b? In types of vector, I have already discussed about negative vector. Minus b is the negative vector of vector b. That means, this is the negative vector. This is the negative vector. So, if you will add a and a vector with this vector, that is addition of vector. If you will add this a vector with this vector, that is indirectly subtraction of vector. So, subtraction of vector is one type of vector addition. So, now we will apply parallelogram law of vector addition. You just mark here, this is vector A and this is vector B. This is vector B. So, according to parallelogram law of vector addition, you just complete the parallelogram. And their resultant will be that diagonal which passes through them. So, here resultant is the big diagonal, vector r equal to vector A plus vector B, and this is the theta, angle theta. But here A minus B means A plus minus of B. So, negative vector of B will be added to vector A. So, minus B means this is the minus B. So, if you will add vector A, B, A and A plus B, you will consider the parallelogram O, P, Q, S. But in case of subtraction, we have to add vector A with the negative of vector B. So, we have to consider the new parallelogram OP UT, OP UT. So, for addition, vector r equal to a plus b, that is parallelogram OPQS, but here r prime is a minus b. So, this angle should be, this should be the angle. So, what is the angle? So, total angle is 180, this is already theta. So, 180 minus theta, angle between vector A and negative vector of vector B is 180 minus theta. So, the formula is modulus r equal to, I have already told, subtraction is one type of vector addition. So, in vector addition, magnitude will be modulus r equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta root over, where theta is angle between vector A and B, two vectors are added A and B, but here vector A and negative of vector B are added. So, what will be angle? 180 minus theta. So, therefore, in case of subtraction, modulus r equal to a square plus b square plus 2ab cos 180 degree minus theta root over, cos 180 minus theta equal to minus cos theta, implied modulus r equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta root over. Since cos 180 minus theta equal to minus of cos theta. So, you just mark, in case of vector addition, this will be plus a square plus b square plus 2ab cos theta, but in case of subtraction, modulus r equal to a square plus b square minus 2ab cos theta. So, just simply you change the symbol. In case of addition this is plus, in case of subtraction this is minus, and this is the geometrical figure, and we have used the parallelogram law of vector addition. Okay. Then multiplication, scalar multiplication of vector, it will give another vector or new vector, and in case of addition of two vector it will also give a new vector. In case of subtraction it will also give a new vector. Now question is, just we will divide a vector. For example, you take a scalar quantity 5, you divide it into two parts 2 and 3, you add it 2 plus 3, again you will get 5, or you will divide it into two parts 1 and 4, 1 plus 4 equal to 5. You will divide it into many parts, when you will add it will give again that quantity, scalar quantity 5, but that is in algebraical process. Similarly, if you will divide a vector, it will also, if you divide it a vector, it will also give two vectors, and when you will add, suppose vector A, it is divided into vector B and vector C, when you will add vector B and vector C, B plus C, again it will give vector A. That process is known as resolution or resolution of vector. So we will discuss about resolution of vector. Resolution of vector. One thing, in case of scalar, you can divide a scalar quantity into many parts, and that is up to you, 2 parts, 3 parts, 4 parts, 5 parts. But in case of vector, it will be divided according to dimension or axis. If you will take 2 axes, then a vector can be divided into 2 parts. If you will take 3 axes, then a vector will be divided into 3 parts maximum. So it depends on the dimension or axis. So resolution of vector, what is resolution of vector? It is the process of splitting of a vector in such a way that when you will add its component or parts, again it will give the original vector. That process is known as resolution of vector. So first we will consider the resolution of vector in 2 dimension. That means we will divide a vector into 2 parts, we will add them, then we will get the original vector, then it is proved that the process of resolution of vector. Suppose you take 2 axes, 2 dimension, OX, OY, and you just take a vector OP, this is vector R. Since 2 axes, there are 2 parts, that parts known as 2 components, X components and Y components. So just draw perpendicular. OQ, this OQ belongs to X axis, so this is vector X, then QP parallel to Y axis, so this is Y axis. So now R is vector R is given, it is divided into 2 components, X component and Y component. X component is along X axis, Y component is along Y axis, and here you mark OQ vector X, QP vector Y, they are in same order, and also they are in head tail arrangement OQ and QP. So their resultant will be third side, but in opposite order. Here OP is also in opposite order. That means if you will add vector X and vector Y, you will get the resultant vector R. Let OP equal to vector R, PQ perpendicular to OQ, PQ perpendicular OQ. Now we can use Pythagoras theorem to this right angle triangle OQPU. Now according to Pythagoras theorem, applying to triangle OQP, OP square equal to OQ square plus QP square, but OQ equal to vector x, QP equal to vector y. Therefore, R square equal to x square plus y square. X square plus y square. So now we have to find out the value of two components, x component and y component, and then put the values of x component and y component in this equation, and if you will get the vector R, then splitting process is correct. Again, in triangle OQP, sin theta equal to PQ by OP, that is vector y by vector R, and in same triangle cos theta equal to OQ by OP, that is vector x by vector R, implied vector x equal to R cos theta, vector y equal to R sin theta. So now using the values of x component and y component in equation 2, we will get that R square equal to R square cos square theta plus R square sin square theta, R square equal to sin square theta plus cos square theta. Here sin square theta plus cos square theta equal to 1. Therefore, R square equal to R square and modulus R equal to modulus R, LHS equal to RHS, which is resolution of vector. So, R is the vector given, it is splitted into two parts, two components, x component is x, y component is y, and when you will add vector x and vector y, again it gives resultant vector R. So, resolution of process says if two vectors, or it is a process of splitting of a vector into its components, and when it will be added, it will give the original vector. So, it is proved, I have proved taking two dimensions, two parts, two components in resolution process. Similarly, if you will take 3 axes or 3 dimensions, then there will be another component, that will be z component, and vector R equal to x square plus y square plus z square root over, just like in 2 dimension modulus R equal to x square plus y square root over. Similarly, in 3 dimension, modulus r equal to x square plus y square plus z square. So, it can also be proved in 3 dimension that if we will take 3 components or 3 parts of a vector, then it will also give the original vector. Therefore, vector r equal to vector x plus vector y plus vector z. So, in component form, a vector can be represented in this way: x component, y component, z component, x component plus y component plus z component. Here, according to unit vector, vector A equal to vector A by A cap equal to vector A by A modulus, and vector A equal to A modulus A cap, that I can write A cap. Similarly, x vector equal to x cap. Here x cap is unit vector along x axis. According to orthogonal unit vector, we have taken I cap is unit vector along x axis. Therefore, I can write it x vector equal to x I cap. Similarly, y vector equal to y j cap, z vector equal to z k cap. Therefore, vector r equal to x I cap, y j cap plus z k cap. So, in terms of unit vector, the resolution of vector after splitting in component form also we can write vector r equal to x I cap plus y j cap plus z k cap. If a vector is in unit vector form, how you will find the resultant? Vector r equal to, you just square the coefficient of I cap. Here coefficient of I cap is x, that is x square. Coefficient of j cap is y, that is y square. Coefficient of k cap is z, that is z square root over. Same, x square plus y square plus z square root over. For example, if vector A equal to 2 I cap minus 3 j cap plus 4 k k cap, find A modulus. How you will find A modulus equal to, given, first you write given vector A equal to 2 I cap minus 3 j cap plus 4 k cap, then modulus A equal to, here coefficient of I cap is 2, so put square of 2, then here coefficient of j cap, this is minus 3 plus coefficient of k cap, this is 4. So, you just solve it, 4 plus 9 plus 16, that is root over 29 units. So, this is modulus of magnitude or modulus of a vector. Okay? Thanks. This is all about resolution of vector.